Hey everyone, it's Jedi Coach Genius Live. So glad you can join us this week. Now today we're going to do a reaction video on Uncle Roger. Now the famous Uncle Roger who has been going around the headlines on the whole issue about fried rice and how to make the greatest fried rice, and he has a little comedic reaction to it. So many of us have, many coaches have come to me and say, hey, and they're baffled by how was he able to create such a comedic reaction and response, and how was he able to communicate his message across to his audience. So today we're going to break down from the perspective of how Uncle Roger was communicating his thoughts, his expression that was engaging worldwide. Now, are you waiting for this? Because we're going to react to every single moment of how he's going to be looking at the response of Jamie Oliver in this episode, and how that, we can learn about how his communication styles is, and how that will really transform our own personal styles as well. Now, whether you are a coach, a leader, a speaker, I hope this reaction video will really give you some insights into how people actually engage themselves, and how people get, acquainted with the different communication styles, and why they're getting so enraptured by what Uncle Roger has to say. Okay, so this is going to be a really raw, my first view of Uncle Roger's new episode on his reaction to Jamie Oliver's fried rice, and we're going to see and break down a little bit and give some ideas and thoughts about how he could actually do a more exciting video, or maybe how we as individuals can communicate better using some of the tactics and techniques that Uncle Roger's using.
Oh, no. Putting jam in rice. This is disgusting. Who put jam?
Okay, so right from the start, Uncle Roger has this interesting blooper or a summary of the video, which was really about showing that who puts jam in the fried rice. Now, if you are a communication specialist, or you're conveying message, what you want to do as well is think about what is a blooper, what is a little key snippet, a teaser for the audience, for them to get engaged into your next conversation. So Uncle Roger just did that. In the last few videos that he did as well, he had this little breakdown of, he highlighted one segment of his speech or his video that was a teaser into what happened there. Right, one of the no-nos in Asian cuisine is you never put jam into your food. Okay, it's kind of weird to put jam into your food. So when that opened up, it kind of hooked you in. So this is where we call conversationally a hook. A hook is something that draws you into a conversation to say, hey, I want to know what happens next. So in the first 10 seconds, this is just the first 10 seconds of the video, we are already entreated into this hook. Jam and rice. How does jam and rice go together? Okay, so let's find out more.
Hello, niece and nephew, it's Uncle Roger. Today, Uncle Roger gonna react to this video requested by so many niece and nephew out there. It's Jamie Oliver making egg fried rice. Jamie Oliver is professional chef, very established, everybody know him. So Uncle Roger think this one is gonna be good. I've been to many of his restaurants. Before we start video, niece and nephew, please smack the like button now like you slap a bag of rice. Don't make Uncle Roger sad. Smack like button.
Okay, so before he starts, he says, hey, please smack the like button. So do that for us as well. If you're new to our channel, do smack the like button. Now, really interesting, he compared that with smacking the bags. Because in Asian culture, people do carry gunny sacks and carry bags as well. And we do actually, when you have rice, traditionally, you do actually just weave the rice by smacking the rice a bit to make sure its weight is there. Okay?
Smack like button. Now let's start the video.
Egg fried rice, it's an absolute classic. And I've got a
2 seconds into video and I already see saucepan. Hiya. Where your wok? Jamie. Where your wok? Egg fried.
Okay, a really interesting part here where he says this, right? Because traditionally in Asian culture, we don't really use saucepan. Saucepan is something from the West. In Asian culture, we use wok. Wok is a rounder version of the saucepan. So a saucepan has a flat base, but a wok has a little bit more rounder base, right? And usually what we call wok hei. Wok hei means wok with fire, with lots of fire. And that essence of that fire, the intense fire and the wok creates a really amazing aroma and flavor to the food itself. Well, whether it does scientifically or not, it's another thing, but what it does is actually, because of the raw fire that's there compared to just traditional low flame, the food gets cooked very differently. And really interestingly, the way he converses this, he says, hey, he points out the difference. Asian culture is this is Western culture in the first 2 seconds. So what he wants to get you enraptured in is this, right? Hey, guys, this is the first 2 seconds and already we're seeing a bit of mess. What happens if we see all the way to the rest? So now he's continuing his hook with you. He's trying to bait you into his conversation to say, hey, there's something more that I'm going to share with you. There's something more I'm going to react to, because if 2 seconds shows me this, can you imagine what will happen there? Now, this is a great conversational starter because it just allows you to get deeper in the world of the audience, into his world, because we want to hear what he has to say. And that is one of the secrets to create retention in your speech. Figure some points that you can do a juxtaposition with. So right from the first 2 seconds, he created juxtapose the wok and versus the saucepan. Okay, so really interesting.
Wok. Egg fried rice need to use wok because you need the wok hey. Many people asking Uncle Roger, what is wok hey? It is the breath of wok. When you cook with wok, the wok gives the food flavor. Get the wok hey. No such thing as saucepan hey. Jamie, you have 25 cookbook, but you can't afford one wok. Uncle Roger send you one wok for free, Jamie. No problem.
I absolutely love making this recipe. Yes, you could do this as a side dish, no trouble at all. But actually, it's heading towards being a really beautiful dinner. So,
wait.
Yes, you could do this as a side dish.
Jamie says egg fried rice is side dish? When Uncle Roger going...
Okay, really interesting part here, right? So he chose a really interesting moment to pause. So that moment of comparing with fried rice as a side dish was a really interesting thing, because in Asian culture, fried rice usually are the main dish. It's not something on the side. We don't have fried rice on the side by the way kind of thing. It's really the main dish itself, because sometimes we just have fried rice for supper, for breakfast, for lunch. We could have fried rice all the time, and it's like a staple. It's like fish and chips. It's like steak. So it's like burgers. So fried rice is something that we use it all the time. So it's like a casual food that we hit. So it's not a side dish per se, but it's more of a main dish that we have. So this comparison again brings back to the same point that we just did earlier between the wok and the saucepan. So now he's doing that comparison again between side dish and main dish. Really interesting use of communication tactics.
Roger going up, when my mom make me egg fried rice, that is the main dish. I never tell my mom, oh mom, this egg fried rice is only side dish. Where the main dish? Where the main dish? I would have been beaten to death.
So finally slice this up, and as this...
I've been bitten to death. So this is true for the Asian culture, that he's just drawing in allusions of typical traditional Asian culture, where the matriarch, it's the one that controls the kitchen. Okay, so the mom is the one who has the strong figurehead of the kitchen. You have to finish your rice, don't waste the food, and do the correct process. Even if you challenge and question why are we doing it, just do it. Okay, it's because mama says so. Okay, so don't argue with mama, just do it.
And as this pan gets nice and hot, I'm going to go in with 1 tablespoon of olive oil. And
what? 1 tablespoon of what?
I'm going to go in with 1 tablespoon of olive oil.
Olive oil for egg fried rice? Who use olive oil for egg fried rice? Why are you making salad? Olive oil is like white people oil, not suitable for Asian dishes like egg fried rice.
And I'm going to go straight in with the onions, and we'll get them sizzling straight away. And
No. Spring onion is garnish. It's garnish. You put spring onion as the last thing in your meal, not the first thing in the frying pan. Hiya.
We'll get them.
Okay, so really interesting part right now, where again he brings back a few things, right? So let's break it down a little more. So he had this notion of the olive oil versus traditional Chinese cooking, where you just use vegetable oil or something for you to cook, because that has more flavor, right? And then he again use a comparison between the spring onions. In fact, one of the things that we do in Asian cuisine, or I would say more of the Chinese household cuisine, is that we use garlic as a way to freshen up and to warm up that flavor of the oil. And so you chop fine garlic and put it in, and sometimes we use onions as well. So not really using that onion, the spring onions that he just used. Usually that's for the garnish, which is absolutely right. So his reaction was really interesting, because for many of us, the audience who are watching this as well, you may feel, why does he have such a strong reaction? Well, his reaction was coherent with his own culture, his own beliefs, from where he is. So really interesting. He has a play on using cultural biases, cultural norms, and use them in a conversation process to make a comedic moment for the audience, right? So sometimes many of the things that he says here, all those things, It's actually in reference to how an Asian family will be like, and all the different nuances, the inflection of voice really brings back memories, nostalgia to the audience, and so that's why they get enraptured by his speech as well. It's a really interesting way of actually engaging the audience by using what is familiar to the audience, so that when they pull that memory forward, guess what? They're remembering the time, not what Uncle Roger is saying, but they're remembering a time when their own family experiences was like, and they were having the little giggles, and they bring that emotions and feelings into the present moment while watching the video. So that's a really clever way of bringing emotions into the video itself by tapping on your audience's past memories.
We'll get them sizzling straight away.
No, you don't sizzle spring onion. Nobody sizzles spring
Nobody
onion.
sizzles
If
at
you
all.
cook spring onion now, it will wilt. It wilt. This should be garlic. First step should be garlic. This first 3 steps all wrong already. I thought you professional chef. You have website and everything. Uncle Roger don't even have website, and Uncle Roger know you fucked up.
And then I've got some
Really
packet
interesting, right? So they
pre-cooked.
say the first 3 steps you have already screwed up everything. Now, one of the interesting thing is this, right? He did this comparison. You have, you're a professional chef and you have website already. So now notice this. This is a really interesting fallacy. The fallacy of equating what does having a website and a professional chef have anything to do with being able to cook great fried rice? It has none, right? So, but the attribution of you having a professional chef and then you have a great website, alludes that you should be able to do fried rice. Okay. Now, if you're not able to do that, that becomes another thing altogether. So, what Uncle Roger has used here, it's actually a fallacy statement, right? Because how do you know that because of this that's happening? Because of you're a professional chef, you have this one, therefore your fried rice must be there. So this complex equivalence of fallacy, it's demonstrated here, right? Really interesting use of messaging here, because when you use this, you actually violate one of Grice's maxims. If you are not familiar with Grice's maxim, I have a video on that as well to show you how actually, if we follow the in terms of quality, quantity, as well as manner of speech, we are able to demonstrate a clear, logical, deductible form of messaging. But in this case, because Uncle Roger used this to extrapolate a sense and feeling for the audience to say, hey, yeah, it's true, right? But when you think a little bit deeper, how does having a great website tell me that you are a great chef? I can have a great website, but that doesn't tell me you're a great chef, okay? So that natural conclusion doesn't really apply, but by using that in a comedic setting like this, you're able then to influence the audience to think, yeah, it's kind of funny that, if you have a great website, you're a great chef, surely you know how to make something this basic like fried rice, okay? But he failed to show us the other side, which is Jamie's fried rice was not an Asian fried rice. It was a unique twist of the Western fried rice.
No, you fucked up.
And then I've got some packet pre-cooked rice. Yes, you can cook your own.
Packet. This guy owns so many restaurants, and he still can't be bothered to make his own rice. Packet rice? Imagine if you
Nobody
go
has a
to
packet
Japanese
rice.
restaurant and you ask for noodle, and the chef gives you instant noodle. That is what this guy is doing.
Own rice, white rice, 12 minutes. But for stir-fried rice, you have to drain it and chill it.
You have to chill it. He correct, but don't drain rice. Uncle Roger made a whole video, 12 million view now, of Auntie Hersha draining rice. Don't drain rice, but chill rice, correct. 45 seconds in, first thing he got correct.
So for me,
Okay, really interesting. After the 45 seconds, now he says that finally Jamie Oliver got something right. Now, all the sequencing is really interesting because that creates that moment of engagement. Now, one of the challenge when you want to do some form of humor in your speech is to sustain the momentum. Because if the humor is predictable needs, the audience are left, okay, you're kind of predictable. You're no longer as funny as before the start of the video. So by doing this, he's building up the momentum. It's a challenge, right? Because to sustain the audience for 10 minutes, you want to make sure that your humor it's sporadic, but not in a way that's predictable, so that your audience have new, fresh perspective as well.
for me, that feels like a good cheat. You can hear it sizzling.
You hear sizzling, I hear my ancestors crying.
Really, really interesting as well. So now he brings this, right? Sizzling versus ancestors crying. Because in the Asian tradition, ancestry, it's really something that we uphold as a value. Honoring the ancestors is something also really close to our hearts.
Furious. We're just going to toss it around. Right, the next.
Oh, Uncle Roger don't like the look of this. He taking ingredient from this drawer, and this drawer looks so white because Asian ingredient never come in jar. You ever notice that? Asian ingredient always come in plastic bag or bad packaging. If your packaging look this nice, nice jar, nice bag over there, then it's not Asian ingredient.
Next ingredient. I have this in my home all the time now. Chili jam. It's
What I tell you, it's not Asian ingredient. What he doing with chili jam? Let's see.
brilliant for cooking. It's got heat.
We never had chili jams as well in Asian. Usually it's just chili sauce, or we just cut up chilies and have it. So to have a chili jam, it's kind of interesting.
But it's also got the sweetness, and it's going to kind of glaze.
Oh no! Putting jam in rice. This is
Okay, so really interesting comedic moment there. Saying no. That is building up the momentum. Saying no, don't put a thing there, because that is like a taboo. It's a no. Don't put jam into your rice, right? Who does that? So now this movement of inflection in voice, no. The tempo, the cadence actually creates a heightened sense of something that person is probably going to do wrong. So it makes us really acquainted with what Uncle Roger is feeling right now, right? So it's a really comedic moment. I love this part because that the cadence with that notion of the jam being applied on that shows you the entire expression. You can even see the body language of Uncle Roger just cringing and saying, that's just a taboo. You should never do that at all.
This is disgusting. Who put jam? First of all, what is chili jam? Uncle Roger, no fresh chili oil,
Yeah,
chili
this chili jam
flake.
is something that we don't use
Never
in Asian
heard of
culture.
chili jam.
Yeah.
Is this how you trick white people to eating chili? You give them fresh chili, they go.
No, I don't actually like chili.
Give them chili jam, and they go.
Oh.
Chili jam is so weird thing to use. Jamie, do you know about sriracha? This is Asian chili. Just use this. No need to use jam. What are you gonna put in there next? Peanut butter. Okay, why do you go bake PB&J egg fried rice? How many things can...
So sriracha is also one of the chili sauce that's used, but in Southeast Asia, we don't really use sriracha. So, we use like fresh chilies, sambal, belacan. This is our own culture here. So now notice Asia culture, it's a huge culture, right? It's comprising of many different cultures and ethnicities together. So you have Southeast Asian, where I am from, Southeast Asian, where you have states like Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia. We have sambal, we have belacan, we have nice chili paste, right, and cut up chilies as well. So it's really different combination from srirachas. It tastes really different. So if you've never been to Southeast Asia, I encourage you to come and find us. Come and find me. I'll bring a tour around Singapore.
How many things can a chef get wrong in one video? Hiya!
2 nice teaspoons go in to our pan, and then just start tossing again.
He tossed very po, but he tossed all the wrong stuff. All style, no substance.
That'll start to coat every single rice grain, and it will shine.
So now notice that at this point of time, Uncle Roger's rhythm of humor is beginning to be predictable. Okay, so that doesn't really create a really strong, impactful moment there.
in the most beautiful way. And then just give it a little splash of water.
Wait, what? What?
A splash of water. So really interesting. At that moment, he has a little splash of water. That's a no-no again in any form of cooking. We don't do a splash of water because who splash waters into your food? We never do that. Okay, especially for rice, we don't splash water in the rice. Okay, let's take a look.
No. In the middle of cooking, you put water. Oh my. Uncle Roger say, if your rice too wet, you fucked up. But if your rice too dry, you also fucked up.
At this stage, just push the rice.
When we cook rice as well, if it's too dry, if by putting water it doesn't do anything to the rice. You basically have screwed up the rice, right? And you never put like cold water in the middle of cooking the rice.
Up the side of the pan, like that. And then straight into the middle, we're going to crack in 2 beautiful free-range eggs.
Okay. Okay, the egg look good,
And then it's time for the last ingredient, which again, to a lot of people...
He reaching for that shelf again. So Uncle Roger don't think it's gonna end well. Uncle Roger just don't like that shelf. I think it's wrong shelf for egg fried rice. Maybe during filming, they put the wrong shelf there. And Jamie's like, oh shit, you bought the wrong shelf. What I do now? And the filming people are like, we don't care. Just use whatever in the shelf.
People is a bit of a new ingredient. Tofu. Firm, silken tofu.
Tofu? What Why your tofu in juice box?
Nobody
Who
has
make
tofu
your
in the
tofu? Capri
in the
Sun?
kind of
When
carton box, right? In the Asian culture, tofu are usually found in bags, in plastic wraps, and it's in that shape of like a little rectangular shape, not in a carton.
Make your tofu Capri Sun? When Uncle Roger buy tofu at Asian market, always come in plastic bag, plastic seal wrapping. No tofu look like juice box. What, are you gonna poke straw and drink your tofu?
50 grams. And what you can do is just break this up.
No,
And as
no,
it cooks,
no.
You never do that breakup.
He make Uncle Roger put my leg down from chair. Baking tofu like how Auntie Helen baked Uncle Roger hot. Asian cooking
Okay,
when you
that's a really interesting analogy. Breaking tofu like how Auntie Helen breaks Uncle Roger heart. So, and the notion of that also shows you the emotions behind that, right? We never break down tofu like that. We never crumble tofu like that. The reason it's in the rectangular shape because you want to maintain it like that. In Asian cuisine, you will probably slice up the tofu and still maintaining its shape and integrity, but never really smash it up like that per se. Because if not, you might as well just get a tofu off the shelf, where you can create your own tofu as well. So his reaction, Uncle Roger's reaction, was really interesting because you can see this is the second time. The first time, remember, what was when the jam was placed into the rice. The second time was this. So these two are what I call the peaks of the situational humor, right? The peaks of situational humor where you find him reacting, and now he has to add a new dimensionality to it by comparing this with this is a no, you never crumble that thing, and his reaction was amazing. Okay, so let's see.
Asian cooking, when you cook tofu, you preserve the whole shape of tofu and serve to customer. This video, so many sad thing happening. He wasted the spring onion, he wet the rice, and now he tear apart the tofu like paper.
So this is called a layering on effect, right? So you're bringing back to remembrance for the audience that these are the things that he has, that the presenter has really said before, right? This is that. So he showed reference to what he has done wrong, the 3 items that's done wrong, and up to now. So it's just building on that cadence, right? Layering on each layer so that it helps us refresh, because he's going to make a point right now.
I don't know if Uncle Roger can go on. This depression is too much.
This
I
depression.
want chunks of egg and I want little bits. So
Okay.
the nice thing about this stir-fried rice is it's kind of random.
What he say?
Kind of
What he
random.
say?
The nice thing about this stir-fried rice is it's kind of random.
Random is not compliment. You made food for your friend one day, and your friend say, why your food so random? And Jamie say, oh my god, so random. Gonna start restaurant.
Season with a little salt. Give it a little toss.
Salt, again, no MSG. But Uncle Roger talk about MSG, too many video now.
Mix it all up, and then we're ready to serve. Get a bowl. Put a little oil.
This guy love olive oil like how Auntie Hersha love colander.
You take a
He
bowl and put olive oil
on
there. So
everything.
now
Do you
Uncle Roger has a really interesting comparison. Now he's gonna compare the olive oil with Auntie Hersha from the previous video.
colander. He put olive oil on everything. Do you shower with olive oil also? Don't go get massage from Jamie Oliver. He will put olive oil on your body.
Rice dishes and that kind of street food, which is beautiful. It's often associated with being unhealthy. This has been made to be healthy.
If by healthy you mean disgusting, then Jamie, you are right.
You could have that as a meal. I think it's the time to have a little...
This rice looks so wet. Look at this. You can see your reflection inside. Mulan is gonna start singing when she sees this rice.
So silky and delicious.
So it says this, right? Really interesting. So he used a really interesting catchphrase, and now that's called relevancy of the topic as well, to draw in some new humor. Using the phrase Mulan can see her own reflection in it. Now, if those of you don't know do not know the show Mulan is a Disney show of a girl who sang the song Reflection. Why does my reflection shows who I am inside? So by pointing this out, it's a really apt reference, because since this is Asian cuisine and you should never make a wet rice, because wet rice it's not the right form of rice that should be served, right? And so he makes an allusion that you can even see a reflection there, and then Mulan will start singing. So that is a really good kind of like analogy or metaphor to show, hey, this is a no-no, because if we did that, Mulan will start going on with her song on reflection, and it's just a no-no in Chinese cuisine. Really interesting point here, because he did that in reference to what's going to happen in this season, where Mulan's going to be aired soon on cinemas as well as on Disney Plus. So it's a good reference point. And yet I wish he had a little bit more punch in that moment, because you could have actually placed a little bit more emphasis there, and to really give that heightened experience of that humor there.
So silky and delicious. Looks fantastic. And it's really good fun to make.
Jamie is professional chef. All the step he messed up. Does this guy hate rice or something? What else have he done with rice? This guy, I think he just hates rice in general. Maybe he's sponsored by Potato Company, their competition. Uncle Roger don't like this Jamie Oliver recipe. Too wet, no garlic, no MSG. He break the tofu, no wok. It's all wrong. Subscribe to Uncle Roger channel for more video. See you next time.
Okay, so another great video by Uncle Roger or Nigel, and he's a comedian, right? So his reaction to this video, it's really about using a character, a typical Asian character with an Asian accent, and in reaction to the Asians' way of cooking, okay, of fried rice, because traditionally fried rice came from Asia. And in Southeast Asia cuisine as well, we have a lot of fried rice. So rice is usually that's not finished, utilized on the day's cooking, will be saved in the fridge, and in the second day we will use it to fry rice, because that's how we save rice. We don't just throw the rice away. We can actually refry them and make them into fried rice. So really interesting humor, really interesting composition of different languaging tools, and many usages of different what we call different mutant models as well in the process, where we can actually use them to actually inspire the audience, or actually move the audience. So in a way that's comedic in this setting, where Uncle Roger is actually using them, and to really move the audience. A lot of analogies that are seen here, a lot of repeated ones as well. So no wonder, to me, I feel that his first video was more compelling, because the first video with Hersha and the BBC fried rice was more compelling. He tried to do a little bit of tie-in with the previous one by showing you potato. Potato means someone who is of a Caucasian descent. Potato means someone who speaks English, right? So he made that reference there, but it's not as strong as it was from his previous video. So I find that while it's kind of interesting and kind of funny with his reaction video, but the comedy, the essence and the punchline could have been better, and also it might seem that he's repeating a little bit of his comedic stance, right? So if he wants to freshen this up, he needs to start thinking about how he can make this whole reaction a little bit more interesting in a different way, in a new approach, in a new manner. I love his videos so far. It's been really wonderful. So this is my one little thing for Uncle Roger or Nigel as well. I hope you can create another video where you have a different reaction, or maybe different comedic points where you can heighten, draw in different references, and maybe at certain reference we can do a cut-in. For example, just now the Mulan scene would have been perfect if he started singing, right? Maybe having a little scene of Mulan singing the song, looking at reflection, but what she saw was actually the rice. That would have been a really good visual punchline. Okay, so there you have my little take on Nigel Ng's Uncle Roger's reaction to Jamie Oliver's video. So if you love to see more such reaction videos where I break down a little bit about communication strategies that people use, do leave a comment below and give a thumbs up, and don't hit the subscribe button. And until next time, this is Jedi here at Coaching Lives. Coaching is conversational mastery.